Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Kate Patton. I'm one of your VPs of Career Development, and today I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to give a DECA presentation. So, as we move forward, it's important to remember that everyone starts at a different confidence level when presenting. So, don't let that intimidate you, and just know that everybody can learn something from this video. First off, we're going to talk about different presentation types that you should consider and think about what might be right for you. So, our first presentation type is presenting with a slideshow. So, that would be sitting down with your computer, with the judge on the other side of the table. Your second option for presenting would be presentation boards. So, you'd be standing up, those boards would be on an easel, and those boards can be made by West Ink. So, it's like a normal poster board, but it's made professionally with a design online. And it's really cool to use if you're interested because not a lot of schools have the resources to do that. Then lastly, you can also use a multimedia kind of presentation where you have a board and some sort of digital component. People that have a video to show the judges often do this, or if you have some sort of website to show, that kind of thing would be great for a mixed media presentation. So if you have a partner, talk to them and just think about what might be right for you moving forward. If you are interested in ordering boards, they can be ordered through West Ink. So I'll send a message out to the state GroupMe when they're ready to be ordered. But we'll have this order form, as you can see on the left. You'll fill it out and give it back to us. But boards are going to cost $20 each. That's for the front and the back. And then your design should be designed as 36 by 24 or 24 by 36, depending on whether or not you want it portrait or landscape. And then finally, your orders must be placed with the design and paid for no later than January 13th. You submit it later than January 13th, and we cannot guarantee that we'll have your boards ready for you by competition. So just start to think about it and understand those deadlines if you're considering doing a presentation board. First tip we're going to talk about for presenting is body language. Make sure to maintain eye contact. Using eye contact connects you to your judge and can make your presentation more personable. I know we've all seen someone present where they stare just at the slides the entire time, and it's really hard to follow, and you're not as interested as if the person's actually speaking to you. Next, use hand gestures. Using hand gestures to reference important information shows your passion for a project and can prevent you from closing yourself off. So when we talk about positive body language, like what we have on this slide, we also need to consider negative body language. So closing yourself off would be one example of that. So crossing your arms in front of each other could be one way of doing that because it sort of distanced yourself and makes you seem less approachable to your judge or whoever's watching your presentation. Kind of going hand in hand with that, make sure you're holding good posture. So good posture is going to make you appear more confident and professional during a presentation. And then lastly, use vocal tone and cadence to enhance your presentation. Appropriate vocal tone and cadence will help your judge stay interested in your presentation and can help you emphasize important messages. I know we all know some people who present very monotoned and it can be hard to follow, and honestly, it can get a little boring. So make sure and practice that if you know you're that sort of person. So anecdotal evidence or real life examples can be super helpful to help your judge understand what you're actually talking about. So make sure and consider adding that in. I would recommend as an opener or a closer to your project. And then next, using ethos, pathos, and logos, so appeals to authority, can also help you. So I know one project is doing a community awareness campaign to work with the Humane Society. So maybe they're going to utilize pathos a lot in their presentation to make the judge sympathetic to their cause because they're talking about animals and pets and needs of home and donations. But you should use logos and ethos as well with different statistics and studies that you found that apply to your project. Next, we're going to talk about note cards. It is okay to use note cards in a presentation if needed. However, please try your best to memorize as much information as you can. That being said, it's better to have note cards than to forget important information and lose points. So note cards shouldn't include all information you're presenting, but rather just the highlights. Here, we're going to show you an example of what note cards should look like when you're presenting. So if I'm presenting project milestones for one of my projects, then I want to make sure and have the number from the slide that I'm presenting on at the top so that I make sure I'm staying in order. And then I want to just hit those highlights, the things that I want to make sure that I remember. So the specific date and maybe what we performed on that date as a milestone. Remember that you know the most about your project in your manual more than anyone else. So you're the best person to give this information. Don't psych yourself out by adding so much information to a note card. You definitely don't want to read off of them. They should just be a point that you look at and reference to make sure you're staying on track with your presentation. Next, practice. Record yourself That can be super helpful. We are our own worst critics, and we often pick up stuff that the people around us don't because we are so critical of ourselves. Next, practice for your friends and family, and really anyone who will listen. As presenters, sometimes we skip over elements and forget to give the full scope of a project. So sometimes we think we explained something that we didn't, and that can get kind of lost during the presentation. So we want to make sure that we pick out any of those moments and to ensure that your judge fully understands what you're talking about. Next, if you're working with a partner, please make sure to practice together and get into the flow of presenting. Additionally, make sure you recognize each other's strengths and weaknesses. That's going to be really helpful when you're working with a partner, especially to make sure you sound like you both have contributed the same amount to the project and are on the same knowledge level when you're presenting. Finally, business professionals. We're going to have an opportunity to present for business professionals coming up soon, which we'll send out some more information about, but we just wanted to make sure you knew of that opportunity. Next, nervous habits. So we all have them, so figure out what yours is and identify it and minimize it as much as possible. So likes, ums, and other filler words, I know I'm guilty of this sometimes, as I'm sure many of you are. Try and make sure to identify which words you use a lot and listen for them while you're presenting. Additionally, it's way better to use a pause to collect your thoughts and make sure that you're ready to speak your next sentence instead of using words like, or Next, slow down or pick up the pace. I know I'm a super fast presenter. I talk very quickly, so I'm always getting the note to slow down. But make sure that you're aware of what you do when you present so that you can be better and begin to sort of remedy whatever your nervous habit is. Finally, if you're standing up, make sure that you're not swaying, overusing hand gestures, or playing with your clothes, as that can be really distracting and take away from your presentation. Finally, I have this TED Talk for you guys to watch if you have the time. It's 16 minutes, almost 17, but I promise it is worth your time if you take the time to watch it. It talks about different communication and public speaking skills, but a lot about body language as well, and the important body language to have when you're presenting. After I watched this presentation, I think I realized about 5 or 6 things that I do when I present that I could, consciously work on removing from my presentation repertoire, if you will. That being said, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see all of you winning glass out there.